Hey guys, Ferris here. This video is going to be a bit less on the scripted side and is going to be a bit more chaotic because I wanted to get my feelings out about Evil Dead and how I stand on the game as of right now. I haven't really been playing the game a whole lot due to a bunch of issues that the game has been experiencing. It's been a mixture of just the Castle Kandar update not really being all that fantastic and a bunch of weird bugs that have came up on top of a few balancing decisions. So the first thing I wanted to talk about was the Necromancer bugged attack speed. Now I know there's two sides to this entire conversation. You have one side saying, "Oh, the Necromancer lightly heavy combo it's an exploit and it should be removed from the game," and then you have the other side that says it's been there since launch, it's perfectly fine. But I'm going to say that I believe it's an exploit as of right now. And if you're wondering what I mean by that is, before the Castle Kandar update, the Necromancer basics attacked slower than they do now. So the light heavy combo, like the 12 hit combo or whatever it is, I don't remember. It's like 12 13 hits. It wasn't that much of an issue before the Castle Kandar update because the Necromancer basics attacked much slower, so there was more time for like teams to stun the basic, right? The possessed basic. There was more time for it to get stunned and it was less likely to do like a bunch of damage. And I understand, I think it's important that like basic units have combos. It's why Warlord is so shit right now, like, right? Because like Warlord's like fucking pathetically bad right now because they removed dodge cancelling from puke cancelling because it was too easy to hop from body to body and spam puke and then dodge out of it, and that's how Warlords got hits. But it was also the only way to combo Warlord attacks. So what a good Warlord would do against like a skilled opponent is they would bait out dodges with 4 light attacks, vomit on the survivor once they had no stamina, dodge out of the vomit, and then attack them with 4 more lights. You basically got like a 9-10 hit combo out of it. And the changes to possessions wouldn't have affected Warlord players who were doing this. The changes to possessions would have nerfed Warlords who were possessing a body, puking, dodging out of puke, losing the body, and then trying to possess another body, right? Because obviously it would cost a lot more, which shouldn't really be an issue now because that's what the issue was before. So it's like everyone's like went from like Warlord because the Warlord cheese got completely removed from the game, even though they fixed basic possession spam early game, and they've all moved to Necromancer. Even though Puppeteer's really good now. Puppeteer's probably like, if Necromancer's attack speed wasn't bugged, like Puppeteer would probably be the best demon in the game right now. If you were asking me. Puppeteer's probably like top if Necromancer basics weren't like fucking busted right now. The second thing I wanted to rant about was the balance changes, the balance on survivors. It's like, we get it. Warlord is shit and Necromancer's overpowered right now because of the attack speed and whatever the fuck's going on there. But the survivor balancing is in fucking shambles, man. Like, Leader Ash doesn't fit in any team composition except ones where you're just filling in and you're letting your teammates do the hard work. You're just filling in as like, you're just a fear reduction bot as Leader Ash, right? That's like all you do with him is you just keep people's fear low. That's like your entire job with him. And he can work in certain comps, but he's also not very strong. And then you've got Arthur, who got nerfed for some reason, even though he's like the worst leader out of the 3 of them right now. And they nerfed him, because reasons, I guess. And they nerfed Arthur, and I don't understand why. So the only leader worthwhile playing right now is Annie, because Annie does increased range damage. She has her active ability, which increases her range damage even further, so she becomes like a pseudo hunter. And she has 100% melee damage, plus balance bar buffs. Like, she does more balance bar damage, and teammates around her also do more balance bar damage. Like, she's fucking insane. Like, if someone picks Annie, they're basically saying, you're not allowed to play the game anymore. Which is what the other 2 leaders can't do. The other 2 leaders cannot do this, because they don't passively increase everyone's balance bar damage. It's like, yeah, Leader Ash's active ability, like the big explosion that does like a bunch of balance bar damage to enemies around him, is like, it's really fucking cool, right? and I like it a lot. But Annie exists, and she passively does it. So why would you play Leader Ashe? There's also the leader skill trees, which are just complete fucking ass. There's like no combat skills at all in there, and the top tree's like the most worthless skill tree I've ever seen in a game. Like it's somehow more worthless than like the melee skills on Hunter. Like, how do you even manage this? And the only reason it's more useless than the melee skills on Hunter is because Kelly exists, and Kelly's actually pretty decent with melee. Especially if you get her a meat hammer, she's pretty nasty. And then there's also the supports. The supports fall into a similar category where the only support worth playing right now is Cheryl, because Cheryl just does everything so much better than the other two supports. Pablo's dog shit. Don't get me wrong, I love Pablo. He's one of my favorite characters in like the movies and shows. Well, he's only from the show. He's one of my favorite characters, and I play him a lot. I also play Support Ashe a lot. Support Ashe is my favorite character in the entire game, by the way. Like, I've been a Support Ashe main since day one. But Support Ashe's entire kit is all about like reducing fear, doing damage, and increasing the amount of damage his teammates do. But then they nerfed his marked target. Why? Why did they nerf his marked target? Like, is he somehow overperforming for some unknown reason? Even though Cheryl players are like having like 22k heal games, and Support Ashe players are struggling to break 10k. And then on the other half of the spectrum, they think Pablo's completely fine and doesn't need to be buffed in any way, shape, or form, even though Pablo is just like an extremely shitty version of Cheryl who can BM the killer and just rat out the match for 30 minutes. Like, what the fuck? Like as I said, like Support Ashe is all about reducing teammates' fear and improving their improving combat abilities, right? He's supposed to be the combat support. That's essentially what he is. But Cheryl at level 10 passively reduces fear when she heals teammates with Shamps, and she can get damage skills, and she just does the same job better than Support Ashe does. And then Pablo is just a shitty version of the other two supports because they can carry the same amount of amulets. Pablo starts with 1 extra amulet. Whoa, man, big deal. He starts with 2 instead of 1, you know, like, he can craft amulets every 120 seconds to give, like, himself 1 bar and, like, the rest of the team, like, 3/4 of a bar. Like, Pablo's just really bad right now. There's also, like, the exploits, and I know I'm going into this territory. Cars need to be nerfed. Cars are way too fucking strong. I think that survivors shouldn't have cars as like a get out of jail free card, because that's literally what they are right now. Windows need to be nerfed because windows are way too fucking strong right now. And like the amount of times where I play Demon and I find like a warrior Ashe or like a leader or something like out on their own and like dead end or something, and I go out, possess a unit and attack them, and they just vault a window, and then they just sit at the window and they just don't move. It's like, what do you even do in that scenario? Well, obviously you'll unpossess and you go chase someone else, but you've just wasted so much time. But then you're just wasting so much time looking for the rest of the survivors, because this one arsehole's just camping a window. There's also the fact that Henry is overpowered, and because Henry is overpowered, a bunch of people are activating his Q ability when they possess him, which I believe is an exploit. The demons shouldn't be able to activate abilities on survivors while they're possessing them. I think that's fucking bullshit. I know people are like, oh, I'm just doing it to put it on cooldown and all this sort of shit. Oh, you know, I'm not doing it to be a dick. Well, you're still doing it to be a dick. Like, that's how it goes. Because, when a demon activates Henry's Q, you cannot knock the possession out for 7 seconds. Granted, Henry is fucking overpowered, and I think everyone kind of knows that by now, because he's not really spec'd for any melee weapons, because Warrior Ashe is spec'd for chainsaws, which is dismemberment, and Scotty is spec'd for lumberjack axes, which is also dismemberment. Henry's like the only one that doesn't have like a weapon mastery. Even though the other 2 weapon masteries kind of suck, he's like the only one that's like specifically like everyone's building him around blunt weapon balance bar stuff, and it's making him like really frustrating to go against, because he activates his Q and then he stun locks whatever unit you possess. Or he presses Q and gets free revives and resurrections and all that sort of shit, and it's really frustrating, even though revives should be the support's job, because first aid is in the skill tree for a reason. Things like that. I think the last thing I want to talk about is Castle Kandar. I'm so fucking sick of playing Castle Kandar. Like, the map's nice. It's a fun map to play on. But the balance on it is fucking atrocious. And the optimization is really bad. Like, I'm having a hard time, like, playing Castle Kandar and getting, like, a consistent 32 FPS. I don't have the best rig in the world. I have, like, a 1660 graphics card. I have a Ryzen 5 3600. I have 16 gig of RAM. Like, my PC's not spectacular. It's kind of, like, mid-end. It's, like, a mid-end PC. But I shouldn't be getting, like, 30 frames... I shouldn't be getting, like, below 30 frames per second when the rest of the game runs at smooth 60 consistently. And it makes playing Castle Kandar, like, extremely frustrating. And I know I'm not the only person who's experiencing these optimization issues. I know a bunch of people who have much stronger rigs than mine are having issues with Castle Kandar. Like, it's pretty bad. On top of the fact that the balancing is pretty bad, like the southern side of the map has like fuck all in terms of like natural lighting. There's guaranteed treasure chest spawns absolutely fucking everywhere. The blue objectives typically spawn right next to each other. There's a blue objective can spawn on top of a fucking bonfire that like rapidly reduces the survivor's fear, so demons can't employ fear strategies whatsoever, and a couple of areas are like that on Castle Kandar. There's also the castle itself, which is just a fucking pain in the arse to navigate, and it's not clear at all how you're supposed to get anywhere. And I guess that's kind of the point, you know, it's a castle, but like, can we at least remove like a bunch of the fucking garbage on the stairs and shit, so we don't get lost? You know, like, have those big fancy towers actually go all the way down to the bottom, instead of just having them go to the first floor on the wall. Like, have them go all the way down to the ground, the first floor, and then also have them go down to the ground floor, so people aren't getting fucking lost on the castle walls constantly. It's just, the whole thing is just a big mess right now. A big mess. And I'm just kind of like, I love the game. The game is so good. It's such a fun game. But it's just in such a bad position right now because the Castle Kandar update was a complete fucking flop. It was fun for like the first couple days, and then everyone learned how to play it because it was like 90% of the rotation, and now everyone's fucking sick of it. Because it's not a particularly well balanced map. It's also not a well optimized map. And there's a lot of just like general design flaws that shouldn't really be there. And I don't like shitting on the developers too much because Saber Interactive worked on World War Z, and World War Z was like one of my favorite games. Like one of my favorite horde shooter games to play. And I think Saber Interactive did a fantastic job with it. But at the same time, World War Z was also a testament to the inconsistencies of Saber Interactive, and that doesn't make them a bad game developer. They're a very good game developer. After all, World War Z, in my opinion, I know not everyone shares this opinion, I thought World War Z was a good and fun game. I'll just get that out there. I thought it was a fun game. I thought it was a well-made game. I thought it was enjoyable. I liked the grind. Speaking of grinds, Evil Dead doesn't have a grind, which is another issue that it has because a lot of people are getting burnt out. Because there's nothing to grind for. That's another issue. On top of the scummy practices where they're like releasing a t-shirt for like $30, and you can like order the $30 t-shirt and get the fucking Saviniash skin that was supposed to be like an ultimate edition thing only or some shit. I don't know the specifics about it, but it just comes across as like super scummy to me. Like, oh fuck, the game's not doing too well because Castle Kandar's kind of sucked, so we kind of have to like milk it a little bit for the people that are still playing it. And the way you fix it is you just fix the bugs, man. Fix the bugs, fix the exploits, fix Kandar's optimization, change the map rotation back to normal, and give us some new content. And I'm not saying that you should be shitting out content consistently for free. That's such an absurd request, and I understand that development takes time. Development does take time. But from release to Castle Kandar, we got two new melee weapons and a couple skins. I'm sorry, but you've had like 2 to 3 months to work on the update. Since the game came out, people knew you were working on Castle Kandar since like a week to a month after release. I don't remember the specific amount of time. It was like a week to a month after release. And we didn't even get 2 melee weapons. We got 1 melee weapon and 1 ranged weapon. And that's all we got. And Demons got a skin. and Warlord got turned into a pile of shit that can only play book and is really boring to play. It sucks, man. It sucks. I really enjoyed Evil Dead. And I hope they fix the bugs. And if they do fix the bugs, I will come back to the game. This video was initially supposed to be like, oh, a top 10 changes for Evil Dead that I would like to see. Haha, positivity. But then, as I was writing the script, I was just like, man, I'm fucking miserable. I'm fucking miserable. Because I was writing the script and every single time I like finished one of my pointers, I thought up of another one. I was like, oh yeah, fuck, that's right. Fucking the support's balancing is dog shit, you know, and it just kept going on and on and on and on and on. And I was just sitting there, I was like, why should I make that video? I'll just make like a fucking random rant video, I suppose. Anyway, I'm sorry about ranting. I just kind of had to get it out of my system. If you're still enjoying Evil Dead, please continue enjoying Evil Dead. The game is fantastic. It's a well-made game. It's probably the best ASIM game that's out on the market right now. It beats out even Dead by Daylight, if you ask me. Granted, I haven't played VHS yet, so I can't make a comment on that. Well, it's not really called VHS now, isn't it? It's Video Horror Society because they had like copyright issues with the title VHS or something like that. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. I'm gonna go. If you're enjoying Evil Dead, please continue to enjoy the game. Once they fix the bugs, I'll probably come back to it and try and make more content on it. Until then, I'll see you later. Have a nice night. Goodbye.